All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you joining me. And appreciate you waiting for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody's doing well today. Yeah, Sid, I saw what you're talking about. You're talking about the rumor that came out like 2 days ago, right? From that Curacasis person saying that Insomniac's going to be showing Wolverine soon. If that's what you're talking about, we did cover that. We did talk about it. And yeah, I do believe that's true. Unless there's like a different rumor that came out since then that I'm not aware of. Playing Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, saying I should get on it. Yeah, I don't know. I platinumed Elden Ring earlier in the year, and that took it out of me. I was like, you know what? I gotta rest. I gotta rest. So Shadow of the Erd Tree, maybe in the future. I don't know. That was a good platinum to get, though. Elden Ring. There are only 2 months left in this year, so a Wolverine trailer in December seems likely. Yeah, I mean, I was honestly thinking that we weren't going to see Wolverine this year. I honestly just kind of figured, well, maybe that's it, right? Sony's going to save Wolverine for 2025 to show it off, but it has been a long time. So seeing Wolverine now, I think, makes a lot of sense. We're seeing it soon. I think it does make a lot of sense, but it's just not necessarily so. Like, I wasn't expecting to hear that rumor, you know? So I'm excited. I hope it's true. I definitely want to see it. But guys, today we're talking all about the PS5 Pro. We have new information about the PS5 Pro. It's looking better and better, honestly. It is. I feel like as we are getting closer to the launch of the PS5 Pro, we're hearing more from places like Digital Foundry. Sony is giving more games to Digital Foundry to analyze, but we're also now starting to hear from from Remedy. We're hearing from them where they're laying out the PS5 Pro enhancements in detail. And I want to go over this. Because if you recall, Alan Wake 2 being PS5 Pro enhanced, this was one of the first games that was announced to be PS5 to be supporting the PS5 Pro, and I don't know, man, people were really harsh on it, you know, because it's like 864p internal resolution, but now we have the actual details to go over, as well as other things. For example, PSSR, how is it stacking up versus FSR and DLSS letters, you know? Silent Spartan with a $2 super chat says, I bought that chair. You're right. Very cozy. I'm glad to hear that, Silent Spartan. I was using my other chair for a day or two. Just to kind of, I don't know, balance things out a little bit. Honestly, it was for postural reasons, excuse me. But yeah, man, I'm like, I gotta bring this chair. It's just too comfortable. It is great. It really is. I'm glad you like it, Silent Spartan. It's like an addicting chair in a sense, you know. I feel like it's a great chair for. I mean, obviously it's like meant to be an office chair, and it's great for that. But it's addicting in the sense that once your workspace becomes this comfortable, you're like, damn, I kind of want to stick around, you know. I want to stay here. It's that good. It's very comfortable. But yeah, we need to talk about the PS5 Pro. We're going to go over a bunch of stuff about the PS5 Pro. All in all, it does seem like the Pro is looking better and better as we get closer to launch. We're also talking about an exclusivity deal that apparently was rejected. Sony tried to lock down a upcoming game as an exclusive, and the publisher or the developer decided no thank you. And I think this is a good thing to cover and talk about, because I think it shines a light on the reality of these exclusivity deals that I've tried to explain to people before. And I think a lot of people do understand the complexity around these exclusivity deals, but other people, I think, don't, and they just want to see things one way or the other. But, it's rare that we get info like that. So I want to go over that too. Yeah, Lego Horizon, the previews are out for that. Apparently it's previewing very well from what I've read. The previews are saying that Lego Horizon is a very, very like high quality Lego game, maybe the best Lego game so far, which is quite surprising. I mean, I don't necessarily know what I was expecting, but I don't think I was expecting to hear that it might be the best Lego game so far, just because there's so many, I feel like there's a lot of competition, but that's good news, PS5 Pro made Xbox fanboys salty because it took the one thing they thought they could have, which is power. Yeah, well, you know what? The Xbox fanboys are probably loving. They're probably loving the general response and conversation towards the PS5 Pro, where there's so much animosity and consternation and fear mongering and clowning on Sony and whatnot. But it is true, man. Xbox fanboys, I think are in a bit of, some of them I think are in some denial, where it's like, make no mistake, if Microsoft chose to do like an Xbox Series Elite, you would be excited for it. You would be excited for it, just like you were for the Series X and the One X, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's perfectly fine. Like if you play on the Xbox consoles and you bought the Xbox consoles for the power factor, why would you not want a mid-gen refresh, And I don't know, I think a lot of people also, when we talk about the PS5 Pro, and it's interesting because it's actually going to be important, I guess you could say, to one of the specific topics we're going over today. When it comes to the PS5 Pro, it's really, I think, the singular most important thing about the Pro. It's not the GPU. It's not really the price point. It's not even, I would say, the ray tracing. I mean, the ray tracing is nice, of course, but it's PSSR. Like we're seeing more info come out about PSSR, and that's one of the things we're going to cover. Is it was actually tested with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Digital Foundry tested it against AMD's FSR, which is their upscaler, as well as NVIDIA's DLSS, which is considered the gold standard. DLSS has been, I think, it's been out for like 6 years or something like that. And NVIDIA has been iterating on it and building on it and improving it year after year with different versions. I don't know which version we're at now, like DLSS 3.5 or 4? Or I think we're at 3.5. Somebody will have to correct me on that if I'm wrong. And Silent Spartan comes in and drops a membership gift for you guys. Silent Spartan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good stuff, man. Thank you for kicking it off today. Yeah, guys, if you want to support the channel, support the community, support the content directly, please consider gifting some memberships. Drop a super chat. You know how it goes. I try not to say it every single stream because I know it gets a bit redundant, but please consider supporting the channel directly. We are fan funded. You guys make it possible for me to host this show and have these conversations. So I really do appreciate what you guys do. It means a lot. And Silent Spartan comes in and drops another 5-bomb. I had to say another because Silent Spartan, you've been dropping 5 bombs these days. So he drops a single and he drops another 5-bomb for you guys. That's 6 memberships gifted from Silent Spartan. Really appreciate that support, bro. That brings us up to 6. I'll add that to the counter. We hit that 25 goal. We'll feed the beast. You know how we do it here. Good stuff, man. And Waylark says, on Pro, we can look at all the peasants on base PS5. See, Waylark's got the right idea. That's not toxic at all. We're going to look down at the base PS5 peasants. Couldn't even upgrade to the Pro. Pathetic. Wait, does that make us... Are we like PC players now? Is this what it's like to be a PC player? I mean, technically, we could do that to PS4 players right now if we wanted to know, or PS4 Pro players. But I don't know. We're gonna go over. We got the details. We got the details on Alan Wake 2, and it's very interesting because they're doing like a PS5 Pro fidelity mode, and we're also hearing about what they're doing for the performance mode. But the fidelity mode is interesting because I guess this is something we are going to see some developers do, where it's still going to be locked at 30 frames, but they're going to kind of, I think, try to push the limit on resolution and ray tracing, and that seems to be what Alan Wake 2 is doing. Although there is still a performance mode that will be enhanced by the Pro. We're going to go over that. Hey, Tarnished, you're asking, how can I give membership gifts? It depends on what device you're on. Like, I don't know if you're on Android, Apple, or if you're on a desktop. But there should be like a dollar sign icon at the bottom of the chat. If you're on iPhone, I mean, I don't know. It seems like with iPhone, it's hit or miss. Some people are able to gift memberships through iPhone, others are not. So your workaround, if you do want to drop membership gifts, would be to maybe go to a desktop. If not a desktop, if you want to do it right through your iPhone, I think you have to do it through Chrome or Safari. I don't know. I think it's worked for people using Safari before. Basically, you have to go on the YouTube website in a browser on iPhone because I don't think they have it built into the actual YouTube app. Yeah, basically desktop and Android. So Chrome would probably be the best workaround. I wonder if they're ever going to like change that, because I've seen that quite a bit. I've seen quite a few people saying like, I would like to drop some membership gifts or something, but it's just not a thing on the iPhone. Opera GX. Okay, there you go. Mini Tom Official says he uses Opera GX and it works on PC. Okay. All right. Guys, before we dive deeper into our conversation today, I want you to please hit that like button, okay? If you enjoy the content, if you appreciate what we do here, and if you want to help with YouTube's algorithm and all that good stuff, just hit that like button. Let's see if we can bump it up to 100 likes. It helps more than you know. So let's start here with Alan Wake 2. Over on their blog, they say, take a deep dive into how Remedy's Northlight engine team updated the technology behind Alan Wake 2 to support the new features of the PS5 Pro. Alan Wake 2 is taking full advantage of Sony's PlayStation 5 Pro to enhance the game experience further. Remedy's Northlight engine team has spent a good amount of time updating the technology behind Alan Wake 2, with the main new feature for the Pro being the addition of ray tracing. The quality and performance modes in Alan Wake 2 are upgraded on the PS5 Pro. They utilize Sony's new PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, aka PSSR upscaling method. To quote Sony's marketing language, quote, PSSR is an AI-driven upscaling. I think there's a bit of a typo here. It says upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail, end quote. So first, we're looking at quality mode. So PS5 Pro quality mode features ray tracing, which is not available on the base PS5 version of the game. It will be 30 FPS with ray tracing. Ray traced reflections, opaque and transparent. Output resolution will be native 4K or 3840 by 2160. And the internal render resolution is actually going to be 2176 by 1224. But they also have performance mode. The performance mode on the PS5 Pro features significantly higher output resolution and has more visual detail compared to the base PS5. The Pro performance mode uses approximately the same image quality render settings as the base PS5's quality mode. Okay, so yet another game here, a PS5 Pro enhanced game where the image quality you're going to see at 60 FPS is essentially going to be the image quality you see at 30 FPS on the base PS5 quality mode. They say the overall image stability, fog, volumetric lighting, and shadow accuracy have been improved on the Pro, so it will be running at 60 FPS, using approximately the same render image quality settings as the base PS5 quality mode. Base PS5 performance mode versions run at a lower render image quality settings. So this is the interesting part. The actual rendering or render resolution, the internal resolution, confirmed by Remedy, 1536 by 864p. Okay, 864p. The output resolution, you ready for this? You ready? The output resolution, 3840 by 2160, native 4K. Bro, that's nuts. Is it just me? Like, I don't know. That seems kind of nuts. Like, they're actually doing something crazy here where they're like, yeah, we're taking this internal resolution of 864p, and what you're going to see is basically native 4K. That's I can't wait to see what Digital Foundry has to say about this, because that seems like a massive leap. It is kind of unbelievable. I don't know if there's some kind of caveat here, because it's like people were saying, dude, PSSR can be really good, but it's not gonna take 840p resolution or 864p resolution and bump that to 4K. That's not gonna happen. Now, obviously, it's not running at native 4K, but it's basically like what your eyes see, like what the image quality outputs will effectively, assuming that the numbers they're putting here in their blog will effectively be like, this looks like a native 4K image, essentially. Very, very interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to get a deeper dive into it. Like, will there be a lot of artifacting? Like, will there be a lot of visual noise? Visual noise. That's the term I meant to use. Very interesting, though. And they also reiterate here, by the way, that the base PS5 version of the performance mode, the base PS5 version of the performance mode runs at 1440p. That's upscaled as well. So essentially, it seems like, based off of what I'm seeing here, the PS5 Pro is going to allow Alan Wake 2 to run at an image quality that will be native 4K or look like native 4K or full 4K. Maybe not. I got to stop using the term native. I'm using the wrong term. Full 4K. My bad. I've been saying native. That's the wrong term. Full 4K. So the image quality will be full 4K at 60 FPS, and there will be added stability to fog, volumetric lighting, and shadow accuracy. Not bad, dude. Not bad at all. PlayStation Pete with a super chat. He says, MBG, I meant to have 30th PS5 Pro consoles, PlayStation jackets, Astrobot cardboard, hanging promo from GameStop, and PS4 socks. PlayStation Pete, bro, you need to clearly he's going for it all. He's got to cap it off with the PS4 socks. You love it. You love to see it. He's got that GameStop Astrobot promo. PlayStation Pete, he's going crazy for the Pro launch, man. He's all in. There's a reason why he's called PlayStation Pete. But Pete, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I do appreciate it. They continue here by saying, our approach for the PS5 Pro, we shipped Alan Wake 2 on October 27th, 2023. The PS5 and Series X versions offer players the choice between quality mode at 30 FPS and the performance mode targeting 60 FPS. We wanted to retain and improve these modes when considering upgrading Alan Wake 2 for the Pro. When considering potential options to improve the image quality, increasing the rendering resolution is among the easiest routes to go if you have enough GPU power. We did multiple experiments, including upgrading the 60 FPS performance mode output from 1440p to 4K and adding PSSR, Sony's AI-based upscaling method, which positively impacted image crispness and stability under motion. Increasing the internal rendering resolution consumes a lot of processing power, no matter how powerful your hardware is. However, in our experiments, even putting all the added power to increased rendering resolution provided a barely noticeable difference in the output image or its quality. Adding more pixels to gain visual quality is not straightforward with the new AI based upscaling methods. That being said, there still is a threshold on what resolution image you can feed to modern upscalers and expect good quality reconstruction results. Many different parameters affect the upscaling quality, ranging from the style of content to the choice of rendering algorithms that are used to produce the image. Every engine and artistic direction works in different ways. When it comes to Alan Wake 2, it seemed a better idea to improve the signal that we feed into the uh, denoising network rather than trying to just add more data. This led to us improving the rendering quality settings of the Pro performance mode, which is closer to what the base PS5 version's quality mode uses. These upgraded settings provide the Pro version of Alan Wake 2 with a fast response rate combined with a sharper and better quality image than what was previously possible. Alan Wake 2 visually is incredibly detailed and rich, which are qualities that make it a tough fit for ray tracing, especially compared to our previous game Control. Still, we do like a challenge here at Remedy. If you have a high-end PC with the right graphics card, ray tracing on Alan Wake 2 looks great, and we are happy that we can now bring ray tracing to the Pro thanks to its upgraded hardware. With ray traced effects, the detail of the world in Alan Wake 2 can be observed even more accurately than before on the console, and the image is more stable in complex lighting situations. And I'm not gonna lie, this is a massive blog post, and I'm simply not gonna be able to read the whole thing. But they do provide images. Um, but I gotta say, man, I kind of admire how in depth Remedy is going here with this. And they say here at the end, like, we briefly summarized how the PS5 Pro ray tracing implementation turned out and which measures we took to balance quality versus performance. To end this rather wordy blog post, please enjoy some screenshots from Alan Wake 2 running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I would bring these screenshots up, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think you're going to be able to appreciate them. We're looking at, I mean, these images are 4K and they're showing off ray tracing, and my stream's capped at 1080p. Waylark with the super chat says, PSSR being this good, just think how crazy this type of tech will be with the companies who have AI departments. Next gen running 8K on a 1080 native. Yeah, pretty much. That's where we're headed, Waylark. And this is this is why I mean, when you look at the added ray, I think ray tracing, it is I don't know if it's unfortunate, but it's a compromise, a necessary compromise that to get this love, because I'm looking at, I saw the images of the ray tracing, and it does look good. It looks like they really kind of went all out with the ray tracing for Alan Wake 2. But, there is still that level of compromise where you're going to have to play it at 30 FPS. So it'll be 4K. It'll have a lot of ray tracing and a very high level of detail, but it's still, that's, I think, where we're kind of seeing the Pro's limitations come in, where it's like, I mean, realistically, I don't think you would be able to get a native 4K resolution. In this case, I think it is native in the quality mode. I don't think you'd be able to get a native 4K resolution or a full 4K. It's not actually native. A full 4K at 60 FPS with this level of ray tracing without spending like easily well over $1,000, probably more than that on PC. So it is an understandable compromise, but the performance mode enhancements are what really intrigue me more than anything, honestly, because I like ray tracing, and ray tracing definitely looks very appealing, but I'm likely going to want to play at 60 FPS. And I do remember Alan Wake 2 being a pretty good looking game overall when I played it at 60 FPS, but I don't know, maybe I'll go back and test it out on the Pro when I get it, because it does sound like Remedy kind of went all out here. Still quite skeptical. Alan Wake 2 pushes my 4090 to its knees with path tracing, and that's with full DLSS. Yeah, that's what I remember hearing about Alan Wake 2 is it's an extremely demanding game, like on PC. It's one of the if you can, if you can get it running at certain settings on your PC, it can be one of the best looking games, right? That's why it's so demanding. So, I mean, I didn't read the entire blog here because I'll be honest with you, like it's way too long, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing from Digital Foundry at some point. Just taking a closer look at these images really quick. Yeah, I mean, you could see it. You could see it in the water, in the mirrors. It's definitely more accurate. Doesn't look like I will say like ray tracing is a funny thing to me because ray tracing is cool, but it's not like mind blowing in my opinion. I don't know that I would ever trade like a 60 FPS for ray tracing. I would just like to eventually reach a point where we get the 60 FPS and we get some ray tracing. Oh yeah, and you're saying path tracing as well. Path tracing is way harder on the tech than standard ray tracing. Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, path tracing, I guess that's something that maybe will be there at the launch of the PlayStation 6. But I think the timing of this is pretty good. Alan Wake 2 is getting a physical launch and it's getting DLC. Remedy has a lot going on with Alan Wake 2. And so them going above and beyond to make sure they're supporting the PS5 Pro in a significant way, I think it's just a really good look. And like to see it. Captain Hook, you think ray tracing is a game changer? Yeah, I guess it really does depend on the game and how well it's implemented. Like thinking about a game like Alan Wake 2, it does seem like it would have more of an impact on that game because it is a relatively slower paced game. There are a lot of areas that are in the game. I mean, I remember like kind of walking through the town and everything looks very shiny and reflective. And so kind of like enhancing that and making it even more realistic looking. And yeah, I think for a game like that, it does make a lot of sense. Like I can understand why they were like, you know what, we want to do a quality ray tracing mode, essentially. Do I think that GTA 6 will look super realistic for the PS5 Pro? Probably. Yeah. I mean, that's the big one, right? That's the big question that everybody has is like, well, GTA 6 is likely going to try to push the limit. Um, how far? How far will Rockstar take it with the PS5 Pro? We still have some time. We have some time. I will say, by the time GTA 6 comes out, Rockstar would have had more time with the PS5 Pro than, say, Remedy did. So that could benefit it. Am I getting the Pro? Yeah. Yeah, I have the Pro pre-ordered. You're saying Silent Hill 2 looks very different on console versus PC just because of the hardware ray tracing. Yeah, maybe it's because I haven't played enough games with ray tracing. And I don't really watch these comparisons that often to, like, here's what it looks like. For example, Silent Hill 2, I didn't really watch any comparisons on it. I watched like the initial one that came out with you guys where it was just comparing the PS5 Pro quality mode versus the performance mode. But yeah, it could be something along those lines, right? I'm just maybe not, I haven't experienced enough games that are really utilizing ray tracing. But we have something else here that I think is pretty interesting. Um, this I did report in a video I put out, but we'll talk about it here briefly. It says the PlayStation 5 Pro AI powered PSSR upscaler is definitely superior to AMD's FSR 3.1, but it does lag behind NVIDIA DLSS in certain scenarios. according to a very early comparison. A couple of days back, Digital Foundry shared a face-off video between the three upscalers based on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart using approximate quality settings, as getting a perfect match proved to not be possible. In addition, the PC version of the game by Insomniac uses a different implementation of dynamic resolution scaling than the console version. Using this approximate recreation on the same visual quality settings, the early comparison highlighted how PSSR is superior to AMD FSR 3.1 in anti-aliasing and newly revealed detail and in the movement. On the other hand, the upscaler lags behind NVIDIA DLSS in certain scenarios, as PSSR returns a softer image and DLSS resolves geometry with less aliasing. Still, NVIDIA had over 6 years to improve its upscaler, while PSSR is just at the beginning, so things will surely improve in the future. They say, interestingly enough, there's an area where the PlayStation 5's PSSR upscaler delivers better results than NVIDIA DLSS, at least in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. With ray-traced reflections, the Sony upscaler does a better job delivering better image stability, although this could be a result of Insomniac using a custom sampling pattern for PSSR. On lower quality settings, the Sony upscaler merges the checkerboard correctly, delivering a higher resolution output, while checkerboard artifacts are clearly visible with NVIDIA DLSS. As Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has a high internal resolution, it is not surprising to see the PS5 Pro upscaler doing a fairly good job, even if it's the first iteration. However, the true test, as Digital Foundry highlighted, will be in games with low internal resolutions, such as Alan Wake 2. So that's going to be a very interesting comparison. But yeah, this was a video that Digital Foundry put out that a lot of PlayStation fans were kind of, I guess, I don't know if it was like that they were surprised by it, but it seems like PSSR is holding its own, like in a more significant way than maybe some people were anticipating, considering it's the first version of PSSR. Ray tracing, global illumination, and ambient occlusion makes a big difference. DLSS is 3.7. PSSR probably already matches DLSS 3.0. Well, that's what's interesting too, is they're basically saying that while DLSS is still better, it seems like PSSR gets considerably close, like closer than maybe, again, you would have thought. And it seems to just kind of leave AMD's FSR in the dust. And this is fascinating to me because, I mean, when you think about the PlayStation 6, or not even the PlayStation 6, like honestly, we could see a new iteration of PSSR as soon as next year, or maybe by 2026, right? It could, PSSR 2.0 could come out before the PlayStation 6 comes out. And if this is something that Sony's planning, developers are just going to, I really wonder if Sony is going to try to take on NVIDIA here. It seems like they are, where like, I think Sony might be vying for the number one spot. Like, I think their goal is to get PSSR to outperform DLSS. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. But yeah, Treble Champ, you're saying there will be a new DLSS with the 5090. So yeah, Sony's got to play a game of catch up here. Venom Fang 181, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying ray tracing is all about immersion. Baked lighting can look really good, but it will never look realistic to our brains. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Venom Fang. It's funny when I see these comparisons. I don't see them that often, but for the times that I have where I've seen like ray tracing on, ray tracing off, like ray tracing off doesn't look bad at all. Like it still looks really good. But when you see the ray tracing on, yeah, it's like, well, that looks just so much more realistic. It adds to the realism, which for a lot of people does add to the immersion. Chris, you're saying Sony should stop showcasing their first party for the Pro. The games look really good already and are ruining what it can do for games for people trying to see the difference. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank was the strangest one I've seen so far, Chris, where I understand why Sony wants to do this. I mean, of course, they're going to want to show their first party games running on the Pro, but same thing with like Demon Souls. Like, we see these games, and these are games that are already so heavily optimized for the PS5 that while you will see it some kind of difference, like there is a difference. If you look at Ratchet and Clank running on the PS5 Pro, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered running on the PS5 Pro, you do see a difference. But the difference is not as noticeable as maybe what we would see with other games that are definitely running at lower resolutions in their performance modes and stuff like that. You know, it's not like The Last of Us Part 2 is running at like 900p 1080 or 900 or 1080p at 60 FPS. I mean, it's like one of the best looking games already out there. Although I will say, like, for The Last of Us Part 2 remastered specifically, the difference I think was more noticeable. I think it was kind of like an in-between where you do have to look a little bit more closely to notice a difference. But if you're putting the images side by side, you can see that one is much more crisp, much more clear. Again, just the overall image quality. But it really, I think anybody who's playing on the base PS5, I think can very easily determine if the Pro is worth it for them, because all you have to do is, if you're playing a game in 60 FPS performance mode, right? Switch that game, like Ratchet and Clank, for example, or like The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Switch that game into its fidelity mode or its the graphics mode. Switch it to fidelity and ask yourself, do I want this at 60 FPS? Or do you not want that? Like, are you okay not having that at 60 FPS? Like paying $700 to upgrade your hardware to get that at 60 FPS, right? That I think is ultimately the easiest way for current PS5 owners to determine if they want a PS5 Pro, or if a PS5 Pro would be something that would be worth it to them. Because I do think when we see these comparisons, especially when you're, when you're looking at these like top tier first party games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I don't know. I can't blame people when they're like, I'm not really seeing a difference, or that doesn't seem worth it to me. And I think what's going over a lot of people's heads is like, well, keep in mind, like what you're seeing on the Pro, like that level of visual quality, that's running at 60 FPS. You know what I mean? We have Carbon M2 says, does this mean Sony is competing with PC? Yes, actually. I think so. I don't know. I mean, it's in the hardware space. Yes. Right? In terms of like, are they competing with Steam and like the storefronts and the ecosystems themselves? No. Like inherently they are. Inherently, where it's like Sony wants people to go to their store, not Steam. So there's always like that just base level of, we want to try to get you in over here and make sure you don't go over there. But when it comes to the hardware side, you talk about PC components and PC hardware. Yeah, I would say this is direct competition, where that's why I'm saying, like, I have no doubt that the long-term goal for Sony, and I don't know if they will be able to achieve this, but the long-term goal is they want to be number one with AI upscaling. They want PSSR to be number one. They want PSSR to be better than DLSS. Don't know if that's going to happen. They might be a bit too late. DLSS, like somebody pointed out, they're already going to have a new version coming out, I think in January. But I think that's where like kind of the new arms race is going to be. That's why it's so weird that Microsoft hasn't announced anything yet. Like that's, I think, also something that people are starting to kind of catch on to, where it's like, well, hold on. All right, so GPUs and bigger and better GPUs and improved CPUs and RAM. Like, obviously this stuff is to be expected, but this is no longer going to be enough. This is no longer going to be the be all end all. And more importantly, like, cost, right? Like, if we want to get the best possible looking games, the crispest, cleanest, clearest images running at 60 FPS, running at 120 FPS, and having ray tracing and doing all this stuff, having this level of detail, it's just no longer realistic to simply rely on improving the hardware itself. It's just not feasible anymore. And it seems like Sony basically caught wind of this, I guess, and they realized, like, yeah, we're going to need something to help us out, because we're not going to be able to justify a next gen leap. We're not going to be able to keep up, frankly. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Is like, we're not going to be able to keep up with if we just simply keep trying to improve the hardware components. And I think a lot of people were under the impression that Microsoft would have actually come out sooner than Sony with some kind of AI upscaler or machine learning technology, that this is something that maybe they would have been working on. And so, I don't know. It would be, well, let me ask you guys, do you think Microsoft is working on their own AI upscaler for their own platforms? They're just like an Xbox AI upscaler, a Microsoft AI upscaler for graphics. Do you think they're working on it? They already announced it. Did they give it a name? I'll have Devil Shooter's just like, no, because Xbox is dead. Zizledge says, I want to see Wukong on Pro, for God's sake. Well, they might do it. They announced they're doing a physical version. So, I mean, maybe the next step after that is optimize it for the Pro. They might. Auto SR. I didn't know this. Let me see. Okay, Microsoft Auto SR tested. AI upscaling for every game, but how good is it? Apparently, it was tested by Digital Foundry. So he says, just watch this few minutes. Came here to see what others were saying. I must say it actually looks pretty good, and this is just the beginning. But I'm thinking of potential side effects. One being developers putting less effort into optimizing resolution scaling. Also, this will likely trickle to Xbox consoles. Why have I never heard of this? Like, why? This is literally the first time hearing of this. Was this compared? This is interesting to me. So was this Auto SR? Oh, it's not. Yeah, okay. So it's not on Xbox yet, but you think it will be. Was it compared? Surely this was compared to FSR and DLSS, right? It's just weird because, like, I've literally, like, when I hear people talk about these AI upscalers, when I hear people talk about them, I've literally never heard anybody bring up this Auto SR. This is the first I'm hearing of it. So I guess they did get something out there sooner, but maybe it's just not that good right now. And yeah, maybe they're working on it and they're going to have it ready for the next gen Xbox. Any game can use Auto SR. Yeah, I mean, we are I guess we're entering a new era seemingly where we're going to be comparing these upscalers to one another more so than the actual hardware, I mean, what's interesting to me is Does Sony have to go all out with the PlayStation 6 now? Do they have to go all out? Like, what I mean is, with this fear that everybody has this fear that the PlayStation 6 is going to be like a absurdly expensive $800, $900, $1,000 console. I mean, if PSSR, if by the time the PlayStation 6 is, locked in and ready to go, is it possible that they can kind of like throttle the GPU, for example, somewhat and save on that, so they can ultimately lower the cost of the console and how much it will be for the consumer, and PSSR 3.0 or something by that time it'll easily make up for it. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit risky because you have to hope that the developers use it. If the developers don't use it, you might be screwed. Because that's what I find interesting here is Sony still offered with the PS5 Pro. And you know what? That's something I didn't think about till just now. Maybe this is why the PS5 Pro is so expensive, because they're like, we need to offer a bigger GPU. Like, we increase the GPU size and power by 45%. So they did that, like that. And if a developer wants, they can just use that raw GPU compute power to just brute force an increase in pixels. That's expensive, and that's probably all you'll get out of it. But they did that while also offering PSSR. And maybe this is Sony trying to gauge, like, what are developers going to choose? Are developers going to choose to just use the raw GPU power, or are they going to forego the raw GPU power in favor of PSSR? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. But it's just interesting to me to think that for this Pro console really probably didn't need to have both, but they're there anyway. Which also makes me wonder, what could a developer do with more GPU overhead? So if you use PSSR, but you still have GPU overhead, what can you use that for? I guess other aspects of the game. Okay, you're saying, MBG, think about if the 4090 struggles even with the much more powerful DLSS to run certain games. Hardware still matters and is expensive, which is why the PS6 will be $1,000. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, these games, they are the technology in the engines. Yeah, you're right. These things aren't slowing down. So I guess the hardware can't either. Well, yeah, Sony's got I'd say both Sony and Microsoft, but more so Sony. They have a challenge in front of them, I think. I think it's going to be harder than ever to strike that balance between, like, traditionally when a new console comes out, it's supposed to be like on par with PCs to a degree, right? They're supposed to be somewhat future-proofed. That was a little bit different with the PS4 and the Xbox One, but generally that's kind of what the expectation was. And of course, PC iterates every year. It will eclipse, the console. But I think those days are long gone. And so it's, I don't know. I wonder what Mark Cerny's planning right now. I wonder what Mark Cerny and the hardware team, the engineers, I wonder what they're cooking up. Because I guess there's just so many different directions they can go in. Maybe they're experimenting with a few things. I mean, it is worth noting that we did hear not that long ago that apparently, and this was from a reliable hardware leaker, we did hear that apparently there's two different APUs, I think, for the PlayStation 6. That could be because they're experimenting with both and trying to figure out which one they want to go with. That could be because they're going to launch two PlayStation 6 consoles. One could be a handheld, one could just be a regular home console. Could mean a lot, but still interesting. Two APUs. But focused on the PS5 Pro, I mean, it's sounding pretty good, man. It's sounding pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of can't wait for the launch, because once the launch is out, I mean, Digital Foundry and other outlets, but Digital Foundry is mainly the go-to. They're going to be able to go nuts with comparisons, right? They're going to be able to test everything, and they're going to be eating good in terms of the amount of content they're going to be able to output. And it's going to be very interesting to see what those results end up looking like for all these different games. Because I feel like right now it's very controlled. You know, like, oh, okay, 1 week, here's Final Fantasy. And then 2 weeks later, here's The Last of Us Part 2. And then another week later, here's Ratchet and Clank. But I really can't wait to see like a wider breadth of games, like fully tested and compared. Like I want to see them compared to PC. I want to see them compared to base PS5. That's going to be fun to watch. Okay, you're saying when the PS6 launches, it will be when the 60 series NVIDIA cards should be released. How far ahead will they be from the console? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, how much are those cards going to be, you know? What are they going to do performance-wise? I mean, do we have like some kind of vague idea? Diego says, did you see the preload and launch times for Black Ops 6? I did, yeah. I noticed they showed off the Prestige emblems for Black Ops 6 as well. And I'm very much interested in it because they're bringing back classic Prestige. Not sure how I feel about the emblems. Like, it's kind of cool because they're like inspired by all the previous Black Ops games. One of the Prestige emblems they had was like, I guess for Black Ops 1, like the guy sitting there with the 245s. And I'm like, that should have been the 10th Prestige. Like, easily. Like, that should have been the 10th Prestige. But it's like the second one or something. News, Call of Duty won't have a platinum. Oh my God, why? Like, I'm not surprised, just very disappointed. Like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to be like that. That's depressing. MBG physical pre-orders for Black Myth Wukong. Wait, hold on. I feel like you guys come to me with the news. Black Ops 6 trophy list, all 45 trophies. Let me check this out. It says there's a platinum. Oh my God. Dude, they're doing it again. You can only get the platinum for the PS4 version. What? Microsoft, what? Like, is Microsoft doing this on purpose? Microsoft is doing this on purpose, aren't they? They're doing it to spite PS5 players. I'm just kidding. I know they're not, but all right, is there what are the zombies trophies? Is there like a ridiculous? Listen, I got the platinum for Cold War. Do you understand? I don't think anybody here, maybe somebody does, but I don't think people comprehend how difficult that platinum was to get. And you know why it was so difficult? It was so difficult because if you played Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, they had this bonus zombies mode called like Zombies Arcade or something, or I forget what the name of it was, but it was like an old school kind of top-down view, and it was like a classic twin stick shooter. And dude, to get the platinum, you had to complete all 64 levels. And I'm not kidding you, dude. Like, when I say that might have been one of the most challenging things I've ever done. But I got that damn platinum, man. And I'm just like, please. Now you're telling me you don't even have a platinum. But I think they removed that. Dead Ops, thank you. I forgot the name of it. Dead Ops Arcade. I still can't believe I got that. I still can't believe I completed that. That was a nightmare. I don't know why I did it, but probably not worth it. So apparently, yeah, there's not going to be Yeah. There's not going to be a platinum for the PS5 version of Black Ops 6, which is very disappointing, but maybe not surprising. Nothing like getting a platinum trophy. Yeah, I agree. I've thought about like not chasing platinums anymore and not trophy hunting, but every time I think about doing that, I end up going back to it. Like I've just accepted it's just how it's going to be for me, you know? We have a direct donation from Moonshot. He says, I may not upgrade to the PlayStation 6 right away or until 2031, and here's my reasoning. Cross-gen is here to stay, and you better believe PS5 will be supported for years. That's true. That's very true, Moonshot. And I mean, if you look at this generation, right? If you look at this generation, cross-gen has stuck around for way longer than anybody anticipated. We went into the PS5 generation assuming that there wasn't even going to be cross-gen, except for like third parties. Then we found out not only is it basically all third parties sticking with cross-gen, but even Sony now too. And so because of that, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see them take that approach again. They're going to take that approach again with the PlayStation 6, but I think I don't know, man. Like this is where Sony expressed how critical and important it was for them to move PS4 players over to PS5. I wonder if they're going to be a little bit more relaxed on that this time around. Where I guess what I'm trying to say is, I wonder if by the time the PlayStation 6 rolls around, them selling a PS5 is going to be still just as important. Like they want to sell the PlayStation 6, they want you to go for the PlayStation 6. But if a player says, you know what, I'm just going to buy a PS5 instead, I don't know how likely that is, but it feels like things are just going to be different this time around, like very different actually. Because I mean, the PlayStation 6 is still years away, but Moonshot, even, you know, you're already sitting here being like, dude, I think I'm just going to wait a couple years. And I'm going to have a PS5 Pro. I mean, obviously I'll be there day one for the PS6, but if I didn't have a YouTube channel and I didn't talk to you guys about this, right? I didn't do live streams and stuff. I mean, I don't know, like how much different will the PlayStation 6 be from the PS5 Pro? Will it be substantial? Will it be minimal? Will it be just, you know, just a kind of very iterative upgrade? And Moonshot with another one says, also with tech like advanced machine learning AI, they will just keep upgrading PSSR, which will in turn will be better for the PS5 Pro. These jumps won't be huge. Well, this is why I'm saying Sony could go scorched earth with this, and I don't think they will do this. This is the most unlikely outcome, but it's still an option if they feel like they want to strong arm people. I think it would backfire. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. It's super risky though in this current environment. They could go scorched earth and just be like, we're not doing cross-gen with our games and our studios. They could do that. They could just say, when we show you the PlayStation 6 launch lineup, they're only on PlayStation 6. And any PlayStation 6 game that our studios announce from this point forward, they're not going to PS5. But what makes things really, or hold on, or they could take an even more insane approach Well, actually, this would be less insane, but it just sounds unnecessary. But again, it's another option. They could be like, guys, we're going to treat the PS5 like we treat PC now. So in other words, let's just say Bloodborne remake, right? Bloodborne PS6 remake launch title. Exclusive to PlayStation 6, not coming to PS5, not announced for PC. But in like a year or a year and a half, there will be a PC port and a PS5 port. Like basically, maybe they'll backport their games. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Sony even knows, dude. I don't think Sony knows what they want to do, because here's what I do know. Sony is worried, understandably so. How are we going to get people to move to the PlayStation 6? How are we going to move tens of millions of players at one time, like we've seen with the, with the PS4, from the PS3 to the PS4, from the PS4 to the PS5? How do we get that transition again? Well, if the console is going to be even more expensive, if the law of diminishing returns is in effect even more so, where it's like it's even harder to tell the difference now, you can have a feature set, and that feature set can help. But the last bastion for them might be exclusives. Like that's the only thing we have left to basically, like, when a PS5 player says, like, why would I upgrade? Like, I'm not seeing a huge difference. Games still look and run great on my PS5. Oh, because I can't play that game. You see what I'm saying? Like, that might be all Sony has to rely on. But that's just assuming. That's just assuming that they won't have a massive next gen leap. GLP Gamer says, I've just checked. Black Ops 6 trophies are on the MW2 list, listed as DLC, for fuck's sake. Oh my God. They're already up. That's so, I mean, I'll still try to get them, but man, that really sucks. That sucks. So I can't believe it's listed as DLC, bro. I'll still try to unlock them, but how are they gonna do that, man? I guess you could always play the PS4 version, but if you're who wants to do that? But thank you for letting me know, GLP Gamer. Okay, you're saying the PlayStation 6 must be a huge jump over the Pro to not fall too far behind PC. Bloodborne Remake can only run on the PS6 and give a reason to upgrade from the Pro. That's what I mean. That's why I'm saying, like, I really cannot read. I cannot predict what Sony will do with the next generation, because I think there's just this kind of, there's probably a civil war in Sony right now, dude, that we don't know about. I'll be honest with you. There's probably executives and board members and employees, these high rankings that have to make these decisions. They're probably arguing every day, like, what's the future? Like, is the future like becoming more multi-platform and caring less about unit sales? Is it more about, we see Sony CEO is like, yeah, we're all about users, MAUs, monthly active users. Like, this is what we're all about. But it's like, when he says that, I do wonder, he's the CEO of Sony, but I do wonder, like, do you realize that, the way the PlayStation brand has grown for like 4 or 5 generations is basically the opposite of that. Well, not the opposite, but it's intrinsically linked to hardware and in a hardware ecosystem and a platform. Surely he knows that, but that's where I'm saying, like, how many people inside of Sony are like, we need to go back to leveraging exclusives so that way we can actually sell the PlayStation 6 and we can give people a real reason. Like, it may not be the reason that they want it to be, but it's, I guess I'm saying, like, it might be necessary for Sony to try to strong arm consumers, where it's like, how important is it for you? Because that's the thing, is like Moonshot. You don't I don't know if you're in the chat right now. You don't have to drop a direct donation or a super chat if you don't want to answer this, but you mentioned that you're considering waiting for the PlayStation 6 because you're expecting Sony to support cross-gen for a long time. And you're making that assumption based off of what Sony did this generation. God of War, Horizon, GT7, all cross-gen. Miles Morales, cross-gen, right? Took like 3 years before they let go of cross-gen. And also third-party publishers. Would you change your mind if Sony came out and they were like, guys, all our games are going to be PS6 exclusive? Like, they're not coming to PS5. They're not going to be cross-gen. Would that make you change your mind and like, actually, okay, I'm going to be a day one buyer now? Because I do think you're far from the only one, Moonshot. Like, I think that there are a lot of PlayStation players who, if they go into next gen expecting cross-gen, they're like, I might wait. I might wait. There was never a PS3 Pro, correct? Correct. There were slim versions of the PS3, but never like a upgraded version hardware-wise. If millions of customers are still okay with the PS4, how do you get the millions more who are okay with it and will be for many more years with the PS5 to move to the PS6? That's what well, there is this option as well, right? There's always this option. Sony could give it their best effort. They could go scorched earth, like I said, and basically be like, listen, we got it. Like, anything work, because Sony only has so much control. Like, Sony can't change the fact that their exclusives are not going to bring over everybody. They can't change the fact that a lot of people are still going to stick with their PS5s because they have access to all their live service, free-to-play games, or, their libraries and whatnot. It's fine. So Sony might make this big push to do everything they can. Where it's like, we're going all in. Like, all of our studios that announce PS6 games, they're exclusive to PS6. We're going to hype the shit out of the feature set to try to make it seem super next gen. Obviously, the specs, the power, and really go all in with the next gen marketing. But the biggest thing that will fuel that next gen marketing are their exclusives. And I think that they will wait and they will see. They will see. Okay, 2 years later. So let's say the PS6 comes out in 2028. Does that sound too late to you? You think it's going to be 2027 or 2028? Let's say 2027. We'll just say 2027. 2027, the PS6 comes out. Let's say it's $700. I don't know. I'm just going to say $700 for now. The PS5 Pro got a price cut. It's like $600 now. I don't fucking know. I don't even know what to think about the price. Like, the price is really what's throwing me for a loop, but just bear with me. The PS6 comes out at a price point. We'll say 2028. We'll say 2028 because it has the chance of being a little bit cheaper, maybe, the longer they wait. 2028, November, PS6 launches. They got like 5 to 6 launch titles. All 5 of those, or all 6 of those launch titles, only exclusive to PS6. They also announced a roadmap for the launch window for like the next year and a half from their studios, or their partner studios or whatever, all PS6, like very clearly communicating they're not cross-gen. Like, third parties will be cross-gen. Our games are not. Then they sit back and they wait and they see. They see after the first year how many people moved over. Is the PS6 pacing with the PS5? Is it falling behind the PS5? Is it doing way worse than you thought? Is the message being communicated to you, Sony, that your exclusives are not enough to convince people to move over to the PlayStation 6? It's something we should consider, just because, keep in mind, Sony kind of had the excuse, if you will, that, well, we can switch to going cross-gen because there's a PS5 shortage. Something tells me God of War Ragnarok would not have been a PS4 game if there was no shortage of PS5s. GT7 literally was announced as a PS5 exclusive. That was supposed to be a system seller, and they changed their mind like after it was revealed, because they realized, like, holy shit, we literally don't have PS5s to sell. Like, we're jeopardizing our actual software sales now, like, significantly. Maybe that changed their data. Maybe that opened their eyes and they're like, we should have done this years ago. I don't know. But maybe with the PS6, they'll go back. Wilson, with a super chat, says, the only upgrade I could find for the PS6 would be different types of improved ray tracing. Well, people are talking about, like, AI and stuff, like, in terms of, like, NPCs. It's like, on top of the cutting edge graphics and ray tracing, you'll be able to, like, have real conversations with AI and shit like that. And it's like, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that would be enough for the average player. I think that's at risk of looking like really gimmicky or something if it comes off awkward. And Moonshot, thank you for the tip here. You're saying, I honestly hope the PS6 doesn't come out until 2030 when we're getting a Pro at the end of 2024. I'm not trying to buy a new console every 4 years, man. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Does Sony still believe in generations, bro? Jim Ryan believed in generations. Jim Ryan ain't there no more. I don't know that I want to buy a new console every 4 years per se. I mean, I would prefer Sony go all out at the launch of a console. Like, I know we wouldn't have been able to have what the PS5 Pro offers right now at the launch of the PS5, but if we're gonna, I almost kind of, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I think I'd rather have the Pro at the launch of the console. It's like, here's the base PS6, and here's what is, like, it's gonna be like $800, but it's like, here's the, or $900, here's the Pro. Now, if you want it, it's like, there's your future proof. You know, you'll get a whole generation with the base, but if you want, like, the future proof, like, this shit's still gonna be, this console's potentially gonna be punching above its weight for the next, like, 3 or 4 years, or more. You're going to pay a lot more than you would ever expect to for a console. But I don't know. I feel like I'd almost prefer that. Like, if the PS5 Pro launched at the launch of the PS5, here's the base PS5, $500, pre-order now. Here's the PS5 Pro, $800, pre-order now. I would have went with the $800 one. Be like, yeah, okay. I'll get my fucking Pro now. But again, that's where it's like, I don't know. PSSR probably wouldn't have been a thing. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they could have done it. I mean, they could have had a GPU 45% more powerful, right? They could have done it. Saying I answered your question. No, not yet. I answered your question in my first direct. I think you missed it. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know. You're saying, yeah, that would change my mind because that's what it's all about. If you can play games at 4K 60 with ray tracing or 4K 120 with PSSR on my Pro, yeah, I would upgrade. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, it's hard to determine how many things that are happening with the PS5 Pro right now that Sony's basically taking notes. I'm sure they're taking notes on everything, but it's hard to say what is truly influencing their decision making at this moment in time. I get this feeling that we're still in a period of Sony just kind of waiting and seeing, but they can't wait that long. Like, they have to make decisions. And even the decisions we're seeing them make with like PC ports, like, again, we just talked about Spider-Man 2 and people are like, man, it's only been like a year. They announced the PC port literally 1 year after it came out. It's not coming out 1 year after, but the announcement happened like exactly 1 year on the day. And you got to wonder, like, is this an experiment? I don't know. If so, what data are they hoping to get? Delwyn Jones, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. You're saying just bought Horizon Remaster, Black Myth, and Alan Wake 2 physical disc already. I can't review all of them until I play it when my PS5 Pro arrives. Can't wait. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Delwyn, it sounds like you're going to have a lot to play for quite some time. You have to let me know, Delwyn, which game looks better, because I know we talked about Alan Wake 2. That's going to be PS5 Pro enhanced, but the Horizon Remaster is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced as well. You'll have to let me know which one you think looks better ultimately on the Pro. I'm assuming it's going to be Horizon, but yeah, we're close now, guys. We're just, I think, like 3 weeks away. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, we're about 3 weeks away from the Pro actually launching, so we're right there, man. Delwyn's stocking up. All right. Let me see. I want to check something. My God, dude, I see all this stuff popping up on my Twitter feed about the like the new Call of Duty UI and stuff, and what you have to download and everything. It's like, why does it seem like such a nightmare? I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. All right, sorry. Okay, yeah. So Black Myth Wukong physical version now official. PS5 disc included. Hold on, was this? Are they late to this? Everything will be on the disc. No internet connection is required. Pre-orders for Black Myth Wukong PS5 available at VGP Video Games Plus. Free worldwide shipping. Releasing in 2024. Is this the only retailer that's selling it? I don't even, is it like a retailer or like a, what are they? North America's premier independent video game retailer and distributor. Okay, I guess this is who you're going to have to get it from. It's going to be $60, it seems. 60 US dollars. 85 Canadian. Interesting. Okay. I think the PS5 Pro looking weaker and weaker. What makes you say that, Power Solo? Delwyn Jones says, if anybody has a problem super chatting, switch to your backup account. Somebody having trouble super chatting? I don't know, man. Every day I'm seeing more and more people. Every day I'm seeing something pop up where somebody's saying they're having trouble dropping membership gifts, they're having trouble super chatting. I feel like it's like sabotage out here, you know? Like I don't get it. Like why is YouTube doing this? Why are they always having problems? Have they ever confirmed why Black Myth is not coming to Xbox yet? They did make it sound like it just wasn't ready and it wasn't like optimized yet. Like they were having some potential development issues, but apparently it was rated for Xbox recently. Which I find comical because it's like, wait, guys, I thought there was an exclusivity deal, a secret exclusivity deal. Anybody remember that? Everybody was once again trying to completely wreck Sony for something that random fanboys and bad reporting made up. Made up reporting, you know, like, but nobody will talk about that, you know, when it's announced for Xbox. Oh, that's annoying, Delwyn. That's really annoying. Yeah, I don't. I'll tell you what, like, I've noticed for the past, like, I'd say 3 weeks that when I'm streaming, like, my YouTube stream page just constantly crashes. Like, every, like, 30 minutes or so, it just completely crashes and it says I have to reload the page. And I notice on the screen where it shows me, like, how many likes and viewers and all this info, it just sometimes glitches out and just disappears and then comes back. It just seems totally unstable for some reason. Now, I've been streaming at ultra low latency. Maybe this is why. Okay, you're saying you've been having issues with gifting and super chats. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like literally just yesterday I had I forget who it was. Somebody come in there like, yeah, I was trying to drop membership gifts, but it literally wouldn't let them. So they decided to drop a large super chat, which was very nice of them. But they wanted to gift memberships, you know, and they weren't able to for one reason or another. And I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, YouTube, why are you screwing me? You know, like it's bad for YouTube too. You know, like I don't get it. They're screwing themselves. See, look, my whole page just crashed. All snap. Something went wrong while displaying your web page. This is some bullshit. It's like they're listening to me, man. It's like they're listening to me. Microsoft's blocking you. Cobb Sanity with a milestone chat says 17 more days until I get my hands on the Pro. Yeah, we're almost there, man. Titus, you're saying, I'll tell you something else. I can type fast and accurate. As soon as I do a super, it also has no spell check, adds words together, and separates them in insane ways. It would take like 10 minutes to type this size of a message. Yo, well, Titus, let me ask you, is that like do you super chat on anybody else's channel? Like, is that like a YouTube wide thing? Has anybody else had that problem? Clear your cookies and cache and close the browser. Chris, you're saying that's an iOS problem? Hmm. The super chats on mobile suck. That's interesting. Sounds like they still have some optimizing to do. That's what it sounds like to me anyway. It's all jacked up. Damn. Paul Gannell drops a super chat, says, mine's working. Paul, thank you. You did that yesterday, too. Paul dropped a single member gift. He's like, yo, it's working. All right, well, I do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys keeping me informed. I'm going to try something different on my next stream, just to see if there's any difference. I'm not going to say what it is. Nothing crazy. You guys probably won't notice, but try something a little bit different. I do want to talk about something else, though, guys. This was pretty interesting. This report here. In July of 2023, Korean publications reported that Sony was attempting to secure some sort of exclusivity for Crimson Desert, the upcoming action-adventure game in development at Pearl Abyss. Now, the Korean developer and publisher primarily known for Black Desert has confirmed that was indeed the case. More specifically, they revealed to have received an offer from Sony for a timed exclusivity that would ban the Xbox version for a period of time. However, they decided to go with the self-publishing route after judging it would result in higher profits. This news came from a recent Kiwoom, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Securities Corporate Day, where Pearl Abyss executives talked about Crimson Desert in great detail, as reported by financial bloggers HP and S. The game notoriously received many delays. It was originally set to launch in winter of 2021. Holy crap. There's a lot of delays. According to Pearl Abyss, this is because the developers added many gameplay features to the open world design, mainly to improve interactions with the environment and NPCs. Games like Assassin's Creed and The Legend of Zelda were referenced for the player's freedom, and Red Dead Redemption and The Witcher 3 were also huge inspirations. So yeah, basically what we're hearing is that Sony did approach them. Sony approached them to try to secure an exclusivity deal, and they decided no. And I thought that this was important to highlight because, dude, Sony is always made to look like the villain with these types of situations. When it comes to exclusivity, it's always like Sony's the bad guy. They're always trying to take games away. And it's like, all right, I get it. I understand why people are going to view them as the villain. But I've always tried to explain to people, because there's so many people who seemingly don't understand this, that it's a two-way street. People talk about Sony as if Sony's going up to developers and publishers holding a gun to their head, saying you're going to make your game exclusive or else. When the reality of it is, Sony approaches these publishers and these developers and they try to negotiate a deal. And that deal usually costs Sony quite a bit of money. And it's up to the publishers and the developers to decide for themselves, does this deal seem worthwhile? Does this seem like it would ultimately be better for our game? The money that we're going to get up front, does this seem worth it? Or does what we can get by staying multi-platform and, you know, being able to release our game on more platforms, is that going to be worth it? Or, you know, better for us? And I've always said that, like, if a developer is approached by Sony and the deal just doesn't seem like it's, you know, it's adding up for them, or it seems like it's too risky, or it just seems like they're going to be potentially leaving money on the table by like skipping Xbox or whatever, then they shouldn't take that deal, you know? And it's just interesting because I don't, I guess it kind of, you have to imagine as Xbox becomes less and less appealing overall, Sony's probably offering less and less money, truthfully, to these developers. Sony probably tries to work out roughly how much they would make releasing on Xbox, and they probably try to, if not match that, like get somewhere in that ballpark. But nice studio you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. I love that. I love the idea of Sony just like walking in with like a trench coat and a top hat. It's a nice studio you got there. It's Herman. Herman's the one making these deals. Or like that's how Jim Ryan made these deals. He would walk into the studio HQ with a trench coat and a top hat. The fact that Sony wanted their user base to want a cool game. This also highlights why PlayStation has so much pressure with the PS6. They will get less and less. They will less and less be able to strike third-party exclusivity deals and have to leverage exclusive IP to sell consoles. Yeah, I mean, I will say it feels like it's been a little bit. It's been a little while since we've seen Sony announce some major exclusivity deals, and from Sony's end as well, like they have limits too. Swag Gaming, thank you for the $1 tip. I appreciate that, buddy. But you know, Sony can't just blow all of their money on exclusivity deals, especially as the cost of their own game development is rising. They have to be careful. You know, they have to mitigate it, and they have to assess basically like how much do we really want this game? How much are we really willing to pay for this game? How much heavy lifting do we believe this game will do for us ultimately? I mean, Crimson Desert looks really good. You think is there any chance they could regret not doing that deal? No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think there's any chance they would regret it. I think it's just a matter of, I mean, look at Square. I tell you right now, the deal that Sony and Square struck did not, and I don't, it's not Sony's fault. It's just, I can tell you right now, them being multi-plat wouldn't have saved it. It depends on how you're framing it. Like Square seemingly just perpetually has unrealistic expectations for their games. And I think when Square agreed to this exclusivity deal with Sony with Final Fantasy, like I think that they just projected those unrealistic expectations. Like they didn't even project them, they just moved them over to the Sony side as well. But then again, who knows? Maybe Sony had unrealistic expectations too. But it's bizarre. You know, you see certain games out here getting celebrated where it's like they sold like 1 million copies, 2 million copies on like every platform, like being completely multi-plat. But then you see like, you know, Final Fantasy 16, I guess, was not like selling 3 million in a week is just not good enough on one platform. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, how much did it cost to make this game? You know, that's not even good enough, or not even close to being good enough. It's hard to say. You're saying they probably saw what Square did and followed suit. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Wilson with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, I know an upgrade you might like. Now you can play Fortnite in 8K full ray tracing at 500 FPS exclusively only on MBG's console. I mean, I don't like Fortnite, but if Sony did that, they're like, if Sony and Epic Games is like, it's just for you. It's like a custom version of the console. You get that 8K 500 FPS. Oh my God. Fortnite in 8K. That's what we need, bro. Thank you for that, Wilson. That definitely it just got me imagining, you know, what the PlayStation 6 is going to do for games. That's crazy, man. Think how many deals they could have made with all that money they lost on Concord. I don't want to think about it, dude. Don't make me think about it. Don't make me think. Don't do it. Am I familiar with the new game Once Human? It's only on PC now, but very much like State of Decay. I never heard of this. Once Human. Hold on, I have way too many tabs open. I'm seeing like screenshots. I guess it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic survival game. I think I've heard of it before, actually. It looks pretty cool. Don't know that I would go to PC to play it, though. It was at the Xbox Showcase? Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at these images. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this before. There was this one game that was shown off. I think it was also at the Xbox Showcase. It may, or no, it wasn't the Xbox Showcase. I think it was Summer Game Fest. It was like this zombie game. And it really did look like, it looked like a first-person State of Decay. And it was PC only. And I forget the name of it, but I remember like looking at it. I'm like, dude, this looks even better than State of Decay. What is this game? I'd have to go back and figure out what the name of that game is. I just remember being a bit disappointed when I saw it was only PC. I was like, damn. People are saying that Final Fantasy 16 barely reached 4 million sales and Final Fantasy 15 had reached 10 million sales. Yeah, but I don't know, man. There's also just the reality of like, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't play Final Fantasy 15, but weren't people like really disappointed with that game? Like people were like, whoa, this kind of sucks. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I might be completely wrong here, but I remember, I have some memory of people just basically being like totally underwhelmed by Final Fantasy 15. But there's also the fact that Final Fantasy 16, I don't know, it's very different, you know? Saying it sold 10 million in 7 years. Story was a mess. Yeah, I never did play 15. What are your expectations for State of Decay 3 knowing all the Xbox turmoil now? I mean, I'm still looking at State of Decay 3 optimistically. Like, I'm still assuming it'll be a big improvement from the last game. And I am kind of hopeful that it will make its way to PS5. But maybe maybe it will be more underwhelming than I think. I don't know. Like, there's always that possibility, but I'm still looking forward to it. I just want to see some more gameplay. The last trailer was pretty good. I will say, though, that the thing about the last trailer is the last trailer for State of Decay 3, it didn't give me the vibe that it's going to be a bigger game. It gave me the vibe that they're trying to make it a bit more, honestly, like a little bit more cinematic, like a bit more story driven. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I can get on board with that. But I'm just curious to know if the scope of the game has increased or not. Let me see something here. Okay. Huh. All right. Hellbound. I'm sorry, bro. I wasn't looking at the screen. Hellbound comes in and drops 5 more membership gifts for you guys. Love to see it. Hellbound, thank you so much for keeping that membership train going there. Guys, let's get some W's in the chat for Hellbound. The legend appears. So, guys, that actually brings us up to 11 members on the day. And what I was going to let you know is we're probably going to keep the stream going for just a little bit longer. I don't want to like stretch it out too much just because, I mean, truthfully, there wasn't not a whole host of topics to cover today. I just want to cover some of the new stuff for the PS5 Pro. So we'll keep the stream going for a little bit longer. We're sitting at 11 members. We'll see if you guys are able to. We'll push to see if we can hit that goal of 25. Feed the beast. I know Hellbound would like that. Summit says, make me a member too. Just finished Black Myth Wukong with a good true ending. And man, what a blast. Game of the year easily. You going to buy it physically now? Ray, I'm not sure on that yet. Just make sure you... Ray, I saw you were having trouble with notifications. Hopefully with member notifications, you won't have trouble. I'm not entirely sure yet. Just keep your eyes peeled. Keep your notifications turned on. Do I think Bluepoint shows a game at the Game Awards? They could. When it comes to the Game Awards, it's kind of a wild card. Like, I expect anything from Sony. Sony could show up with anything at the Game Awards. Jay Shaka, you're saying you think their servers are overloaded at the moment? YouTube's? Huh. And Matt Fu comes in and drops a 10 bomb on you guys. Matt Fu. Always love Matt with his Astro picture there. Always looks like he's saying hi. Matt Fu drops 10 more membership gifts, and just like that, brings us up to 21 members on the day. He sets you up. Guys, we're 4 away. We're 4 away from hitting the goal of 25. Are we going to do it? Is it going to happen? Will Boss finally get his treats? W's in the chat for Matt Fu and Hellbound. Together dropping 15 gifts for you guys. Love to see it. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate all the support. How long till the Game Awards? The Game Awards are happening on December 12th, so not too long. We still got a little bit of time. The one thing that's really interesting to me about the Game Awards is it's happening on the 12th, which is later than it normally happens. And Wabu Dude comes in. For some reason, every time I almost call you Wabadoo. Like, I don't know. That's like that's what I want to call you, just Wabadoo. But Wabu Dude comes in, drops a single, gets us to 22. And Matt Fu drops another one. That's 11 from Matt. He drops another single. They got a little member train going here. Guys, that's 23. 2 more, and we hit the goal. We going to do it? 23. Where is, I don't even know where Boss is. I know he's not too far away. There we go. Hellbound, he's got another single gift that he's dropping. That's 24, guys. 1 more and we do it. 1 more. And Silent Spartan does it. Silent Spartan takes it home. Look at that effort. You guys did it. Just like that, man. We were sitting at 6 members for the longest time, and now we hit 25.
Boss, do you read me? It's time to feed the beast.
All right, Boss. He knows. He heard it. He hears the notifications now. Well, I mean, what I mean to say is he fully understands what that notification means. Every time he hears Snake's voice saying, Boss, it's time to feed the beast, he immediately perks up. So let me update this, and we'll break out the treats. Thank you guys for your continued support. And Boss thanks you as well. All right, boss. You ready? We got the treats, man. Careful. Here we go, bro. Come on. They're waiting for it. No, it's up here. Boss, I worry about you sometimes, man. Like, how do you not know by now that I poured it on your... He's walking around my feet now. He's like, "You gonna give it to me? Like, you're gonna give me these treats or what?" Like, dude, they're up here. Come on. Come up. There we go. They did it, boss. They got your back. They didn't forget about you. I can see MBG playing Metal Gear Delta with a ring of cat treats around the couch for protection. Damn, am I gonna get like possessed or something while playing Metal Gear? And I'm sorry, Waylark. I almost missed your super chat. You dropped a $2 super chat saying the amount of people turning on Final Fantasy because of exclusivity. Yeah, I mean, the whole situation with Final Fantasy and exclusivity, it's been a weird ride, you know? It started with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it seemed like it was going really well, but then it just got really weird really quickly. So I don't know. Swag Gaming, you're saying MBG, you the GOAT. Thank you, man. I do appreciate that. You guys are very kind. Phoenix, you're saying MBG Silent Hill sales are 78% on PS5 and 22% on PC. Where are those numbers coming from? That's a bit surprising. It's a lot on PS5. Maybe it's not the most surprising because I mean, Silent Hill 2 is a pretty well-known PS2 game. I think a lot of people would consider it one of the best PS2 games. So, I guess it has that kind of link to PlayStation. What games do I think have Game of the Year nominees? I mean, I think Rebirth. I think Astrobot might be up for Game of the Year. Metaphor ReFantasio seems like it's going to be an easy front runner based off of the reviews and what I'm hearing. I want to say Helldivers, but I don't think Helldivers is actually going to be in the running, unfortunately. I would like to say Helldivers, but I feel like it might. It might. It might. At the very least, I think I could see like Helldivers winning like the live service game of the year or something. You had to win like the multiplayer. Steranko, yeah, we did cover that. I will let you know we did cover Alan Wake 2, its performance mode. Or sorry, it's fidelity mode on the Pro. Yeah, if you missed that part of the stream, we talked about it, I think, within like the first 30 minutes of the stream going live. I think it was like the first main topic we discussed. So you might have to come back and watch if you want to hear us talk about that. Terrence, you're saying there isn't a big game like GTA 6 this year that would be a clear front runner for Game of the Year. Yeah, this is one of those years where it kind of seems like anybody can take it. I mean, like any game that didn't, you know, that wouldn't be considered like mediocre or just like underwhelming. Those years are kind of interesting because you never really know what to expect. I mean, yeah, I look at something like Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think something like that I would say that and like Metaphor ReFantazio and maybe Astrobot. Like those ones seem like the front runners. All right, let me see here, guys. We're okay. So we're about 5 minutes. So we'll do like a last call here for any other. If you guys want to drop any more membership gifts, any more direct donations, any more super chats, we're going to be wrapping the stream up in 5 minutes because we're going to hit the 2 hour mark. And I think that'll be a good place to kind of wrap it, not make it too long today. So keep that in mind. I'll chat with you guys for a little bit as we approach that. Dragon Age. I don't know. I think the reviews are coming out in like a week or something. Didn't the last Dragon Age game win Game of the Year? Oh yeah, Black Myth Wukong. That could be up for Game of the Year as well. Boss is about to attack the container. He's pretty good with that. Luna likes to attack the snack container. Boss doesn't seem to stress too much about it. Yeah, Stalker 2 is coming out soon. Is that going to make the cutoff, though? Stalker 2 does look good. Like, I am hopeful that that game will make its way to PS5. I think it is a timed exclusive on Xbox, but that's a game I think I would want to play. Probably, sorry, boss, in his way. Let me see here. Wukong is awesome, but not going to win. Yeah, I don't get the feeling that Wukong's going to take Game of the Year. We've had years with Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. This year's a bit more chill. The official mark says, MBG, have you covered that Ghost of Yotei doesn't place in Japan at that time in history, which could be interesting for it to branch out from? I mean, I did cover a lot about Ghost of Yotei. If you're talking about, I don't know if I'm understanding your message correctly, but we did talk about how it's gonna be like 300 years later. Am I going to get the Black Myth Wukong physical version? I'm not sure. I mean, it does feel like it's going to be one of those games that probably will have a somewhat limited print because it doesn't. It seems like it's coming from like one distributor. Lots of potential for the future of the series. I guess you're talking about Ghost. You're saying at the time of 1603, Hokkaido, where Mount Yotei is located, wasn't part of Japan yet. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing more of Ghost of Yotei. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see like gameplay next year. The game is coming out next year. So, Silent Hill 2 is going to get worst game of the year. What? Nobbenzer, why? It's good. Oh, all right. Guys, we're at the 2-hour mark. That's going to do it. I'm going to wrap the stream up. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really do appreciate the viewership. I appreciate the continued support. I want to make sure I give a big thank you to everybody who dropped any fan funding today. We did hit the goal of 25 members. We fed the beast. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. And thank you to anybody who dropped a super chat or a direct donation. This channel, this community, and this content is completely fan funded. So those of you who do that, you are the ones who make it possible. The only other thing I want to ask before you head out is just hit that like button. And I want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps for the streams. If you guys see him in the comments with the timestamps, give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates it. And Devil Shooter, thank you for what you do. And yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the stream today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So yeah, we'll see what the rest of the week holds. Am I going to play Slitterhead? I don't know about that one. That game looks a little, I don't know, not really sold on it. I'll have to check out some more gameplay, I think. All right, guys, that does it. I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will catch you in the next one. Make sure you have notifications turned on. And yeah, so until next time, guys, take care. Boss says bye too. As my voice cracks for some reason. Jeez.